welcome back to the Hollywood Tales podcast. My name is Ahmed Ahmed. This is my co-host.
Blake Barty, how's it going?
And we have a special guest host here with us.
Hey.
Markus Redmond.
Hi, everyone.
We are sharing a microphone because we weren't really expecting you to sit in on this one, but thanks for making time. And check out his podcast that we did with him exclusively on Hollywood Tales on any platform. Joe Eurell is with us. What's up, buddy?
How are you doing?
Good to see you, man. Thanks for making time. Yeah, thanks for making time. We record these podcasts at Jam in the Van Studios in West LA. If you've never been, come check it out. This is our podcast studio, obviously, and then they have an indoor space that holds about 150 people, and then an outdoor space that holds 300 people. There's music, there's comedy. It's a lot of fun. Let's just get right into it. Joe Eurell.
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming on. Let's talk about how we met.
Awesome. We met actually. I was thinking about it. I actually did some research. I didn't want to do too much research. But I looked up the flyer, and it was in April 2018, I think, at the Comedy Palace. And I was doing the show in the side room. I love that place. I think it's a new club now, Mic Drop or something like that. But I'd actually seen the story about the police, the Palm Beach thing, and I was leaving, and I went up and I said, "What up?" I told you I saw the video, and you actually threw me up that night to do a set.
I physically threw you on stage.
Yeah, you Uncle Billed me onto the stage. With that move, what he did, it's called a bew. Like in wrestling, they call that a bew, where you throw somebody.
A bew?
Yeah.
Like bew.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why I know that, but I know random facts. This is the story of my life. Just never close enough to the mic.
Wait, what were you doing in San Diego that night? You weren't living in San Diego. You were just doing a set in the other room.
Yeah, I was doing a set in the side room for a cool dude named Billy Orm. It was the side room. It wasn't the biggest show in the world, but I really loved the Comedy Palace. It's my favorite comedy club / Greek restaurant.
I know.
Yeah. It's but I do love the area, and even though I live in Huntington Beach in Orange County, I'll go anywhere in California. So I hit up a lot of people and say they're like, that isn't too far, and some places are, but I love going to different areas, and actually that area in Kearney, Mesa, it's actually a really, really dope area. If I had more money, I'd probably vacation there. But I'm too poor to vacation. You have to work to vacation. You really have to.
I remember you went up on stage that night and you killed. And I thought, oh, this fucking guy is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, you write all your own material.
Oh, yeah. I actually knew I wanted to be a comedian for a long time before I actually was able to be a comedian. I knew when I was fucking 6 years old, but I was 26 before I actually was able to be mature enough and put together enough to actually be together enough. It's the right word, because I had some funny days before I was a comedian that you know what I mean? Just when I was 20, I got 51-50, and it was.
Got what?
I got Blake knows what. Can you?
They put you on a 3-day hold for mental reevaluation.
Yeah.
Maybe you might be a harm to yourself or others.
Well,
Joe probably fucking put a joust on his wheelchair or something.
So can I ask you something? This is a personal question. Were you born the way you are, or did it happen over the course of?
No, I was like technically like rhinitis. I was more. I got cerebral palsy from coming out with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and I was 2 months early, and like it was a very stressful point in time. Valentine's Day, 1987, and I came out and the cord was around my neck. And they got it off before it did any damage to me not breathing. But then when they put the oxygen mask on me as a baby, because they don't like smack the ass like they do in the movies, they don't do that anymore. They just give people like oxygen masks, and I took too much. I took too big of a hit of oxygen, and it caused brain damage that I think I blew out a lung, and I think I'm not sure on all the technicalities. I barely passed science class, but yeah, it sucks. That's what sucks about being disabled. It's you low-key have to have like a familiar with like medical terminology, and I'm like, I'm Irish, so I'm not qualified to be a fucking doctor. It's like I didn't know how to spell cerebral palsy until I was like 16. But 'cause I was but it was weird though because my birth parents, like for a while, were trying to deny that it happened till I was like a year old, and then yeah, it was just an awkward situation, and then like part of the reason I think I'm able to do as much is they're like, you're not allowed to talk about your cerebral palsy. They literally told me that as a kid, and I'm
Your
like,
parents told you that.
yeah, because they're like, they were really old school, my birth parents, like, but then my adopted parents, I was adopted when I was 12, and my adopted parents were a lot more supportive, and they taught me, like, you have to learn to be in a wheelchair. That's what a lot of people don't realize is you have to get, like, training, and it was pretty cool because I happened to be adopted by my adopted dad, who's also in a wheelchair. So I literally at like 12, 13, I was learning how to be disabled, which is like kind of weird. Like it's kind of a skill you have to like.
When were you adopted? What age?
12. I was 12. So I was put in foster care when I was 10 in South Carolina, and then like over there, when you're in foster care, you can only be in there so long, and they want to get you out of there because resources and shit, like, and I couldn't believe it. That was one of the times in my life that they told me what's up, but like, I'm the one that actually like suggested adoption to like the caseworkers in South Carolina, which I kind of forgot, like, for a long time in my life until, like, 2 years ago, my dad reminded me, it's like, that's really kind of sketchy. Like, why the fuck were they listening to you? And then, it was kind of weird because they also, like, they asked me, where do you want to be adopted? And I remember thinking, like in a choice. And I remember, like, telling them California because I always wanted to move to California.
Where are you from originally?
South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
The worst state in the country. The worst. Okay. Do you know why they're obsessed with the Civil War? Because that's the last interesting thing that happened there.
Oh, shit.
It's the worst state in the country. I actually do want to, like, one of my goals in comedy is to go back there as a comedian and get booked there. I'm not going to call out any of the clubs out there.
Out.
Well, I mean, there are barely any clubs because this place doesn't have stuff. They have no pro sports teams. They, you know, it's a horrible place.
Carolina Panthers?
Well, no, see, even that, it's like Carolina, they're mainly in North Carolina, the better Carolina, which, you know, that, but to be fair, though, North Carolina isn't that much better. Like, it's like, North Carolina, it's like, if you sprain your ankle, South Carolina, it's you lose your foot. Like, that's kind of like the difference in quality between the two Carolinas.
So then you get adopted, you choose California as your state, the new parents come in.
Yeah,
you land in Cali. Is that when you start stand-up comedy, or
no? My adopted mom is actually a really cool lady. She adopted, you know, like several disabled kids. I'm talking like 60.
How many?
60.
60?
Yeah, a lot.
You all live in the same house?
Different houses. It's a multi-house thing,
wow.
but she helps disabled adults.
Oh, that's very cool.
Live like full and facilitated lives, and so.
And what do they do to be able to afford that lifestyle?
Well, that's they help people get set up in independent living situations, and it's you know, like I wouldn't have been able to go to college, and like they help people who are disabled live independent and feel lives.
Does the government do they help?
Oh,
as well?
It's a mixture of things. Like there's that, and then there's people help get jobs, and like you know, I really lucked out in life that like I started out in one situation that was not helpful, and then I landed in the opposite situation that's like exactly where I needed to be, and it's really like that's always been kind of bizarre. But it worked out because I lived in a good Huntington Beach isn't a good area, but I lived in a nice area. Nice. It's a nice area. It's got a reputation. It's not as bad as South Carolina by a long shot, but like. But
shitting on South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. You hate South Carolina.
I will say one good thing about South Carolina, Clemson University. But yeah, Huntington Beach sucks.
I did a movie in North Carolina, and they told the Inkwell, and they told me, they said don't go to South Carolina. And so we all had rental cars, and, you know, rebel me, I want to find out why. So I drive down the highway to the border of South Carolina, and I swear to God, there were like 2 state patrolmen on either side standing in front of their cars with shotguns.
Yeah.
And I just turned around. So, yeah.
When I first started doing comedy, one of the things I would talk about, and I don't do this anymore, so I probably shouldn't be running bits in a podcast, but whatever. Like, I always felt like the notion of Southern hospitality was a farce, because you're in the middle of nowhere, everybody's armed. Like, of course, people are going to be polite to people, because if you're not polite, you might wind up in a hole in the field somewhere. It's like, I mean, it's Southern hospitality, but yeah, it's like, how can you claim Southern hospitality if you got 2 guys with shotguns at the border? It's like, you know, it's.
So you get to California, and you're how old?
12, and
where do you live in California? What part?
Huntington Beach.
Oh, that's right, Huntington Beach. So, with and under the guardianship of your
adopted parents. Yeah, they and I pretty much, like, But it was weird because when I moved here, I was very, very Southern, and it took me a long time to like de-Southern because I had like a mullet, I had a very deep Southern accent.
You still kind of have a mullet, bro.
Yeah, it's the and I still watch pro wrestling, and like
You come across to me more like like East Coast for some reason. I don't
well,
know.
it is kind of weird because my birth family were. My grandfather was like a New York Irish guy who moved to North Carolina, and I later on found out that I actually have a second cousin who became notable from like getting the Netflix documentary about being a dirty cop, which is really interesting. But like, yeah, we're like New York Irish people who sort of became Southerners. It was, it's like, it's kind of weird because it's like, that's it, so it's bad judgment throughout the generations. It's like, who moves to the South? Like, after 1866, who moves to the South?
Where'd you go to college, Joe?
I'm actually down the road from where I live in Long Beach. I love Long Beach.
He's from Long Beach.
Yeah, you can't say any bad things about Long Beach.
Which college? Where'd you go?
Cal State Long Beach.
Oh, you went to Cal State?
49ers.
What would you major in?
I actually got both my bachelor's and my graduate degree from Long Beach. Actually, the same building, just across the hallway. But I got my BA in political science, and I got my graduate degree in public policy and administration. So, like, one's theory of government, one's the practice of government. And I actually, for a while, prior to April 2018, when I made the decision to do comedy full time, I started comedy in college, and because I needed something other than school, because I was like going crazy. I'm like,
what talent shows they had, or what?
Well,
or you go to open mic nights around town?
I would go to the local open mic in Orange County, but I just needed something other than, because schoolwork for me kind of sucked because it took a long time, 'cause the arms and like typing and shit, and they're like, for a while I was like, why the fuck am I like trying to be a academic when I can barely type? But for a while I was gonna do like the vision in my head was I was gonna have a day job and then I was gonna do comedy at night, so I would have like a foundation.
But you're studying politics. Did you have any inclination to get into politics?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to run for office.
Why? Why not?
For me to run.
Why not, bud? No, I got it. Oh, we're going back to puns and jokes?
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to hit you with hard questions. Right?
No, I thought about running for office, but for real, I don't think. Well, I've seen what happens when people that run for office who shouldn't run for office.
You've already talked too much shit on Twitter to run for office at this point.
All right, so real quick, speaking of Twitter.
I've been banned from Twitter before.
So why, and then what happened with Ricky Gervais? You called him out and he blocked you?
Yeah. Well, I was harassing him, to be fair.
You were harassing Ricky Gervais?
Yeah.
What were you saying to him? Ricky, if you're watching, this is no reflection. Joe's a friend, and he's just on the podcast. So
well,
if you ever want to put me in one of your things, I'll do it.
No, he's great.
Don't fuck this up, Joe.
He's great. No, he's great.
For real, don't take this. No, I guess what it was, and I can't prove this, okay? But after the Will Smith thing, he, I'm convinced he has a burner account where he retweets his own like clips and videos, and it's clearly a burner account, and it's like I want to say it, and give him the exposure, but like it kind of goes back to the speech he gave at the Golden Globes, the one that everybody was like gaga for, and the speech where he told Hollywood, blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
fuck off and all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's like, I saw it, and even at the time, I'm like, he accused everybody of being responsible for Harvey Weinstein, when it's like, well, okay, Ricky, who's your best friend? Louis C.K. That's like...
You tweeted that.
Well, no, I probably
What
did
did you
tweet that.
tweet that made him block you?
Well, okay, yeah, I just said he fucked his dog. And here's why. To be fair to me. And
You have no
here's why,
fucking shame.
no,
Bro.
because
Why would you even say that to me?
Because in that speech, he came up and he told everybody, don't come up here and talk about social activism and all this stuff, which would make sense if it were somebody else. If James Woods had come up and said that, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right on. If John Voight said that, that would make a lot of sense. But Ricky Gervais never shuts up about his causes, like the veganism and the animal rights thing, and on top of all this, for me, I don't like English people, because I'm Irish.
Oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you so? I mean,
If
what
English people,
why? What did the Brits do to you?
well, it's not just me. It's
It's
not,
the whole country. It's Ireland.
It's they took over the known world, causing multiple famines
Okay,
throughout the
bye.
earth.
All right,
and-
we're jumping in a rabbit hole. right now.
Colonialism. That's
Okay.
and I mean, and I understand Ricky wants to save the pugs because he looks like one, but like
Oof. All right, Joe.
okay.
So I will say this.
but
I watch your Twitter feed. I see what you tweet out daily, mind you, and you take shots at a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're a little bit of a
He's
what
a
do you call it,
troll.
jouster?
He's a troll, a Twitter
Yeah,
troll.
You're not a troll. You're a jouster. You like to poke and prod. You're very
Well,
protagonist.
He'd
He'd be great for one of your movies. Oh yeah.
Just it's just like poking people.
Yeah, literally poking people.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the colonialism that happened. So
Just okay. For the record, if you're watching, when you're watching, you've won how many roast battles?
I've done 40 of them,
40 roast
and
battles.
I probably have a 500 record. So like it's pretty even.
So out of the 40, you've won how many?
Half.
Half.
Probably like 24, 2 draws. That's 38. So I probably won 20.
If you don't know what roast battle is, excuse me, roast battle is when it's Moses, a good friend of ours, Moses, and Jeff Ross, actually, a comedian. They made this almost like a competition. It's a roast. It's 2 comics who get up. You guys do research for a couple weeks on your opponent.
Some
And you
people-
talk a lot of shit about each other's families and mothers and lives and even personal stuff. It gets pretty dark sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and I've been really fortunate that, like, I've never had one that's devolved. Mine are always be entertaining. Because I go dark, I go personal, but
You go really dark. I mean,
So,
no, he does not hold back, bro.
yeah, but
Ricky Gervais fucking blocked him.
Well, yeah, but see, that's that's kind of why it's I don't.
So Ricky Gervais probably fucks his dog. I mean,
Well, it got a response. So
poking and prodding, poking and prodding.
well, to be fair to me, it's very boring sitting in this wheelchair. So I gotta have some. Look, when I was a freshman in high school, I was in a walker, and I signed up for the football tryouts, and so it's just I've always had this like I guess I watch too much wrestling where I like being a heel, and I tell people I put the heel in wheelchair. You know,
Joe's also an accomplished and really awesome painter. I've seen some of your paintings.
Oh, thank you. I actually, that's something I wanted to do even before being a comedian. I wanted to be a painter, but then all my people be looking at my arms, going, "Yeah, sure." Like, I almost went in school. I wanted to almost get like an art degree, and I had this idea that I was gonna do art museum tour guides because all my life I've tried to find scenarios where I can have a job doing something really easy that matches my limited physical capacities, and I haven't quite found that yet, but I'm gonna. My goal is to be the host of Wheel of Fortune. That's what I'm trying to say. That's my goal. The Wheel of Fortune.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any shows coming up besides the ones we're doing? But any specific ones you want to plug?
Temecula?
Oh yeah, Temecula tomorrow night.
Oh, this won't go on before then.
Temecula tomorrow night. Then we got Ontario in August.
August 10th, Ontario Improv, the three of us.
Yeah,
We'll throw another comic on there. Brandon Johnson's going to do it.
I'm probably gonna be sober, and I haven't drank in a month, and I'm gonna go 2 more months. That's what I'm currently working on.
I'm going to get you a 90-day chip,
That's
man.
not true.
Last time I drank was St. Patty's Day.
Oh, I thought you had a drink at the stand-up club the other night.
No, I had coffee.
Why'd you? What was your decision to go sober?
Well, I've been dialing it back since I got alcohol poisoning last summer.
Alcohol poisoning. What were you drinking?
It's more a question of what wasn't I drinking. And,
How much did you have to drink?
and one day
And I guess when you're drunk, I mean, no offense, but people can't really tell. I mean,
well, no, 'cause the piss gives it away. The piss gives it away.
how many physical drinks did you have that night that made you want to quit?
That day, probably like 10.
10 drinks.
Yeah, I probably probably 6 mixed drinks and then 2 double IPAs and then a couple more mixed drinks.
And what happened? Did you black out? Did you have?
I blacked out. I was hungover for 13 hours. I had to go to the ER, and it was
just dehydration. And
yeah. I was shaking, and I mean, I couldn't. I had the chills. The doctor told me that if I had kept drinking, I probably would have died. And that was one night, and it was weird because I never done anything like that before. And
why do you jump in that rabbit hole? What made you?
you know what I think it was? It's actually a pretty positive reason. It was right after I got done the GoFundMe to get the van. And I was doing a show with the Smash Brothers, the Dirty Show at the Ontario Improv, and I was so happy. I was so celebratory that I sort of just went crazy and it was embarrassing. So I tried to walk it back a little. And then
Weren't you drinking at the Irvine Improv show?
That one, yeah.
He was pacing himself. He just wasn't binge drinking.
Yeah.
But that was recently, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was right now. I'm
I don't know
on.
if I buy into the timeline, Joe.
Right now, I'm on no alcohol. I told
Irvine was
myself-
December. He's got 1 month sober.
Yeah, it's sort of like an impromptu Lent, without all the religious implications.
But weed you'll smoke.
Yeah, well, I've never had a bad time on weed.
Yeah, nobody like ODs on weed.
Except me. I OD'd once.
Well, there is a thing now where it's called cannabinoid hypernosis, where people get like dehydrated. It's some sillier
From
thing.
smoking weed?
Yeah.
It's called the munchies. That's what it's called.
Cottonmouth.
What's your dating life like?
It's pretty much not. It's you know.
I've seen you with chicks. I've seen you with really cute chicks.
Yeah. I mean, I've met a few, people here and there, but it's like weird because I enjoy my. I've tried to find a way to be funny about this, but if the idea of dating somebody is about like sharing your life with somebody, what part of my life am I gonna want to share with somebody? It's like
Because you're a fucking fantastic guy, man.
Well,
you're
there's
lovable. You're funny.
there's that part.
Handsome. Chicks like fucking hanging out with you. What do you mean?
Well, there is that part, but I just have like being disabled. It's a lot of moments where you don't have dignity, and I almost come to the conclusion that this life that I have might be for a while better off lived alone, and so I met a few people here and there, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of tough, and I mean, I came from like a pretty rough upbringing, and I don't think I'm ready to like. I don't know. I haven't put to. I'm also very I've been told that I have too much initiative, and I'm too self-oriented, and I don't clue people in. And like what I'm doing, I just sort of go up and do my own thing, and I don't know. I wouldn't want. When you're disabled, you want life a certain way, and I don't know if I'd ever be able to like meet somebody that would want to take that on for themselves, and I wouldn't expect anybody to like, want to take that on for themselves. You know what I mean? Plus,
I feel you. Look, you've been a breath of fresh air in our circle. That's why I always try to have you on our comedy shows. You're fun to be around. You're funny as fuck.
And I'm too busy doing comedy with, like, for people that don't understand, people that are like, not that I'm making myself sound more than I am to say, oh yeah, I'm so busy doing comedy. But like, that is pretty much what takes up like 85% of my life ever. That like, somebody would need to be down with that. And it's like, that's not really reasonable. Plus, if you're on Social Security, you can't get married. Do you know that? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But check this out. This is what's really janky.
I should get on Social Security.
You can be like, I'm not. It's not my fault. It's the government. But do you know if I have a child out of wedlock, they'll like triple my Social Security?
If you have a child out of wedlock,
No.
they'll triple it?
Not triple it. They'll give me a third more.
So why don't you just like meet a gal you have a kid with?
Yeah. See, that's what's.
Does your I mean, I guess it does. Like, does your
Oh well, yeah. I mean, my birth family.
You're Johnson. Does it work?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I mean. I don't know what's
Yeah, I'm gonna make T-shirts that say "My dick works," but
okay.
and sell them. But
Is this too much, Marcus? Marcus is like, I'm stuck between a rock and a
He's
hard
like right in the
place.
middle.
I'm enjoying.
well, no.
Just enjoying the adventure. Please continue, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, it's the last 5 generations of my birth family each have 5 kids. We each have 5 kids of their own. They're very Irish in that regard, you know. They're just, So I wouldn't count that out. But then again, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do the whole family man thing. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's really awesome that a lot of people do that. But then again, the earth is melting, so is it really fair to, like, bring a kid into the world? Of, like, plus, how am I going to play catch with a kid? They're going to throw the ball and they hit me in the head because I can't catch the ball.
You hire like a Manny, or somebody who's gonna be like next to you, and you coach them.
I'm way too cheap for that. I've already figured it. I've already figured it out. If that happens, that I have a little happy accident, like Bob Ross would say. I'm gonna just bring the kid everywhere and just like a free caregiver. Just like.
I think you'd be a great father. You're a loving guy.
I like being a good big brother and a good uncle. My sister actually, I'm really close to my older sister, and she actually
We met her. She came to the
show. I'm really proud. She named her firstborn after me.
Oh, nice.
So that was, like, for me, that's like my biggest accomplishment in my personal life. It's like my nephew. It's named after me. So I'm not, maybe one of my other 2 brothers will like make it happen. But until then, now if I hit it big with some of my movie ideas, or like one of my TikTok hits it, who knows? You could be talking to me 5 years from now, and I have like 5 kids, and be like, "Oh, what happened?"
Like, oh, my dick worked. And
yeah.
Who do you love and respect and admire in this industry, and who do you dislike and disrespect?
Oh fuck.
Well,
yeah, we know the Ricky Gervais thing.
There's somebody else who we both agree we both don't like, but again, it's like, I don't want to give these people.
No, let's not give them any credit. But I will say this: Joe and I have very, very similar distaste in certain comics.
That's
like we literally
like
when you go, I don't like this guy. I go, me too.
Well, and
like we agree to hate. It's mutual hate against one person. I don't hate anybody. I just dislike certain people.
Bringing the world together with hate. No, but you know what it is? It's my biggest flaw is sometimes I let one thing influence my entire opinion of somebody, and I realize that might not be the best way of operating. But like, I'll say one person who I'm not afraid to like say Rogan, right? Rogan is.
I've had my thing with Rogan.
Yeah, but see, my thing with him is more about, number one, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and he has spent years trashing pro wrestling until a couple wrestlers came on his podcast, and all of a sudden, all that stuff he was saying went out the window. And that's not me making fun of Joe Rogan or Joe Rogan's immense contributions to stand-up, which there are many, but it's like the hating on wrestling I can't abide. And like, that's a really petty reason to like. Also, more broadly, whenever I hear people generally talking about how men need to go back to being men, when men would like kill elks with a crossbow and like, you know, hunt things with their face and like, you know, all I hear as a disabled person is, you know what they did to disabled people that time in history? They left them in the woods and they left them to the animals. And so it's like this whole like tough guy, mountain man thing. It's kind of like
No, it's a facade. It's an act. It's like wearing
like,
a mask.
If you can't reach the top shelf at the grocery store, maybe calm down on the elk a little bit, you know? Just calm down. Like, if I was...
Hey, you said it, not me.
If I was out here saying, oh yeah, I love Riverdance. Riverdance is so amazing. We all gotta watch Riverdance. You'd be looking at my legs going, what are you talking about? Like, it's just... But the pro wrestling thing it's legitimate because as a guy who likes UFC, pro wrestling invented that business. There would be, because the original pro
Well, it was the exhibitionist and the showmanship of it.
The original pro wrestlers were legit grapplers.
Right.
And they figured out that if they predetermined these bouts, that they could sell more tickets and make more money. So for him, who's made all this money off UFC, to be sitting on wrestling, it's really pedantic.
Well, it's hypocrisy at its best, and that's what he's good
but
at.
it's really petty and it's really esoteric. But to me, it's a big deal, you know. And you know, yeah. I mean, I would love to see him interview Vince McMahon. That would be a really interesting thing. But yeah. But other than that, he's a real funny guy, I guess.
All right. Yo, we're about to wrap it up here. We want to close out this podcast with your best Hollywood
Oh, wait.
tale.
Sorry. I never said who I liked. Shit.
Oh, sorry.
Throw that. Let's see. Who did you like?
Stephen Wright,
I love Stephen
Mitch
Wright.
Hedberg,
Hedberg.
Rita, who is the lady who did Vegas a lot? Rita Rutner,
Rutner, yeah.
and Laura Keitlinger. I said her name wrong probably, but yeah. And Kathleen Madigan. People never talk about Madigan enough, but
She's super funny.
hilarious. And Patton Oswalt.
And Patton Oswalt?
Yeah, he's
I like
awesome.
That. He's a nice guy. All right. Well, thank you for that.
And Ahmed, obviously. But
You just saying that. 'cause you're on.
goes without saying, I sort of.
Justin, thank you, Justin, by the way, our videographer, editor, sound engineer. Thanks to the Jam in the Van guys, the owners, the staff, the crew. This place is awesome. Check it out. jaminthevan.com. Live music, live comedy. Any questions, or should we just wrap it up
No.
with your best?
The Hollywood tale.
What's your best Hollywood tale, Joe? 5 minutes.
I got to do it so with Michael Rappaport, Boston Public, which was really cool because I got to go to Ireland on the money I made being on those two shows. It just sucks now because neither of the TV shows I was on is on any streaming service. But there is an episode of House where if you pause it in the first 30 seconds, you can see me in the crowd.
You
like
were in
that.
House?
Yeah, for like a brief second. That it's my career goal to be in the background of everything. The random guy in the wheelchair strolling across the screen. You know?
So you were an extra in House.
Yeah,
in
I'm
House.
background.
Yeah, I did background for a couple years. That's a good way to sneak into the business.
But, you know, until I get my FDR role, until I play FDR and get like the blanket on my leg.
Okay. All right, guys. This has been another episode of Hollywood Tales with Joe Eurell.
Or Larry Flint.
They already did that movie. Woody Harrelson played him. Markus Redmond sitting in on this whole debacle today. Blake Barty, my co-host. Find us on Instagram. I'm at Ahmed Ahmed. Comedy, AHMED twice. Comedy, you're at
Blake Barty Comedy.
And you're at
Markus Redmond, MarkusRedmond.
on Instagram. And Joe.
Joe Eurell, that's JoeEurell. Not that you can understand what I'm saying, but Joe Eurell.
Oh my God.
It's in the title. Just look it up.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to thank Jake Kotler, Dave Bell, the owners of Jam in the Van, Jake Trainer, the venue operations manager, Jack Higgins, who is our creative director, Justin, who's on board with us today, and Wolf Ramirez, who's usually in the studio with us. This place is awesome. Check us out. We have some shows coming up. Ontario Improv, it's down the road, but Ontario Improv, August 10th. Just go to improv.com/Ontario. We have shows coming up in Seattle, September, I want to say 16, 17, I believe. And then we have Dallas-Fort Worth Hyenas, September 30th, October 1st. And then we have a big show coming up in Huntington Beach. It's the 15-year Axis of Evil reunion tour. First time the three of us have gotten together in 15 years. Maz Jabrani, Aaron Cater, myself. It's hosted by Omid Singh, Crystal Marie Denha. Will be on the show. It's a big outdoor 500-seat on the beach venue, fire pits, cabanas. Go to Eventbrite, type in Axis of Evil Comedy. Tickets are selling fast. Might even shoot it as a special May 13th, Friday the 13th, May 13th.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be fun. So if you're in Southern California, get your tickets. We'll see you there. And please check out Jam in the Van. See you next time. Thanks.